The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this broadcast or podcast without the express written consent of Spaced Out Radio or Spaced Out Radio Limited is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised. Are you experienced?
Stop right there!
From high atop the mountains of British Columbia to you listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
They let us play with all our toys. They let us think that we're big boys. They let us make the louder noise, but women rule the world. They let us think we're Superman.
You can follow us on our website, spacedoutradio.com, on iTunes and TuneIn. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, on Facebook at Spaced Out Radio Show, or on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show.
I try to act so cool, but you know I'm just a fool for you. For you. I will stop till I reach the top just to be there with you. With you.
Dave, oh Dave, are you playing with Bigfoot and aliens again?
Dad, you gotta stop haunting the ghost. It's scaring them.
All right, seriously, put down the pointy sticks.
Oh, the deeper I fall.
Okay! Game on! Game on! Game on!
The password is...
All right.
Buckle up, space travelers. It's time to go for a ride on Spaced Out Radio. Mr. Bumblefoot, Dave is ready for liftoff.
I try to act so cool, but you know I'm just a fool for you. For you.
Seriously, Dave? Really? Aren't you a little old for a tinfoil hat?
Hello, Toby. Bye-bye. Nephew. Bye-bye.
Yeah, just please take your seat about way. We're with you. It's time for pickup. Start. 2, 1. Boost to ignition and lift off.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, it's like the deeper I go, the deeper I fall. The deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, and it's great to have you along for the ride on this Friday, July 28th, Saturday, July 29th. If you're on the East Coast or across the pond, hope you've had a great day and night as we are live right here in the Great White North on top of the Smoky Mountains of central British Columbia as we are here 7 days a week. Let's welcome in everyone listening in on our terrestrial stations, WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live live as well on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and over 160 countries around the world. We're also live on spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, KTLK, The Fringe FM, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas, the High Plains Talk Radio Network, and if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listeners. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. If you like our music, get your horns up for Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, our resident guitar god, formerly of Guns N' Roses, currently of Art of Anarchy, and on tour. Bumblefoot is the official sound of SOR. If you're on social media, give us a follow on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. How about on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show? On Instagram, you can follow me at Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. Find us on iHeartRadio in the United States. Tune in, download our shows from iTunes. We're also on Player.fm, RadioGuide.fm, TalkStream Live, and Stitcher. Our website is SpacedOutRadio.com. And if you head over to Patreon.com right now, for as low as $1 a month, you can become a patron of SOR as well. Now, if you want to take part in this show, because we are audience interactive, you got to sign into one of the chat rooms, either by going into Revolution Radio, Spreaker, the UPRN chat room, or go on Facebook and join up on the SOR Space Travelers Club. There's a great group of people hanging out in there right now, including you, Gail, and Bob. Hi, Bob. Or, if you're on Twitter, just use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio, and I will get your questions in there as well. If you head to our website for just $5 a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. You can also shop at our Spaced Out Radio store, pick up T-shirts, posters, stickers. Don't forget about Paracon tickets this fall. We also have the Encounter Online, our news section put together by Everett Thiemer and Eric Markham. You can find my blog on there as well, and if you've had an experience you can't explain, fill out an SOR Sightlines report. Tim Doyle from UFO Seekers and Leslie Mitchell Clark's Contact TV is on our website for some great video viewing as well. The SOR Paranormal Roundtable happens the final Friday of the month. We take time to chill out, relax, bring in some friends, and talk all things paranormal in the month that was. So, tonight, we bring in Christina George, Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal and S4, and our new weekend tandem. Saturday nights, Spaced Out Saturdays with Dave Cruz, and Spaced Out Sundays, Cosmic Passport with Elizabeth Anglin. Everyone, thank you so much for being on the panel tonight. How are we all doing?
No, always a pleasure.
Well, that's good, Coop. That's nice. And we got to bring Christina back in because somehow her Skype chopped up here. So we'll get Christina back in here momentarily. Davey, are you there as well?
I'm here, Dave. Thanks again for inviting me on the show.
Excellent. Oh, we love having you here, buddy. We love having you here as well. So normally how this works is, there's Christina. Gotta love Skype sometimes. Normally what we have here is a roundtable discussion about the month that was and some of the topics that just really, really are entertaining. None of us know the questions that each of us has prepared. So we're going in cold just like you are. And if you have questions, we will try to get to them as well. Now, Dave is only going to be with us for the first hour tonight because he is planning a very special birthday party for his daughter. So I think that's one hell of a good excuse in order to, hang out with us for a bit. But you got bigger priorities right now. Dave, how old's your daughter going to be?
Actually, she already turned 15, so she just turned into a teenager.
Oh, dangerous. Yeah. Dangerous. They are dangerous because then the boys start hanging out, and then you got to, threaten every boy that comes into your house. You know how it goes.
Oh, yeah. Luckily, I have two older ones before her, so I got some practice.
Well, you know what? It's something I don't recommend for anybody. And Coop, I know you got a young one there who's going to be very dangerous with the boys. I can tell. We've met. Uh-huh. You just make sure that they know that they're dealing with a 19-and-a-half-year Army veteran.
Oh, they know well, and our boy is already getting into soldiers and asking Daddy about Mark 19s and weapons and helicopters and yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So let's kick this thing off. As I will ask the first question, as I normally do to kick off the show, because, well, it's my show, and I like to have fun. My question goes to Bill Burns, who we had on as a guest for the first 2 hours last night. An incredible guest. I had been trying for over 2 years to get Bill on this show, and we were finally able to connect. And it really, really excited me. And I got to admit, I was a little nervous last night. I don't normally get nervous with guests, but let's face it, Bill is one of the most prominent UFO hunters going today. You know? And one of the things that I absolutely loved about him was his candid nature on what happened to the show UFO Hunters. So Christina's Skype has dropped again. We're going to call her on her phone here, so you may hear a little bit of a ringtone here. And I will wait to ask the question until we get this sorted out here. So hopefully we dialed the right number. Yeah, I think I got it. Hold on 1 second here, crew. You know, Christina just jumps in and out. You know, that's the pixie that she is. How many rings do you think it'll take? I'm giving 3. 3? Anybody got 3?
2.
You got 2? All right. Yeah, it was 2. How you doing, Christina? Do we got you now clear?
Got you now. I mean, we're good, I think.
Okay, perfect. So my question relating to Bill Burns, who was on the show last night, an incredible guest, and I'm going to effort to get him back on in January when his new book comes out regarding Tesla versus, who's the other guy? Edison. But this goes towards his show UFO Hunters, where it was asked by a couple of people, namely Joe and the SOR Space Travelers Club, that there was a conspiracy as to why UFO Hunters, was pulled off the air. And Bill very firmly stated we were pulled off because of the government. The government not liking them filming around Area 51, Dugway, and Dulce. And in fact, he said, he went as far as saying he had a member of the Men in Black approach him and say, well, since this is your final year on the show, or your final season, there's not going to be another season. Did that kind of, if you guys heard it, because I know it did with me, did that really affect, or would that affect your job as an experiencer, as a researcher, as a UFO hunter, to have your livelihood affected and told by a man in black? Do you think that the government has that much power, Christina?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of intimidation stuff that goes on with the Men in Black and the governmental agencies when they don't want you either exposing certain information or, especially with a TV show like that. It was a good show. And they had a lot of good topics. So that you're getting too close, because normally the information they put out, if it's not anything they're worried about, they're not going to bother you. But when they actually get involved and they start interfering with the actual production of the show and the threats, that you're getting too close to revealing something. But that just makes people want to put the information out even more.
Well, the weird part about it was they were literally the number one show in their time slot and for cable television because of everything that they were being able to bring up. Dave Cruz, I bring you in here. Have you ever heard of this story, and what are your thoughts?
It's the first time I've heard the story. I know who Bill Burns is. I've listened to him and I've watched the show, but I didn't realize that he mentions that the government was the cause of his show being pulled from the air. As far as the Men in Black go, I've talked to a number of people who researched the Men in Black, one of them being Nick Redfern. I just had interviewed him a little while ago. And there are 2 versions of the Men in Black. As you guys know, there's the government Men in Black, and there's also a possible ET version of the Men in Black. Either way, if you're being told by the Men in Black to pull your show, then I would probably do the same thing. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, this member of the Men in Black actually told him that they were no longer going to be having a TV show. Literally. And, of course, after their season had ended, the show was canceled. So it was weird that this member of the Men in Black actually would have the gall, I guess, to tell them that.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. There's not much you can do when that happens. I mean, the Men in Black, of course, have been around for a long, long time. They show up during different paranormal events. One of them being Maury Island, when that's one of the first times that they were actually known to be at a paranormal event. And they're very intimidating. And so, yeah, that's totally something that I would I would have to say, that they are very intimidating, and I would have to do what they say.
Elizabeth, how about you? I mean, you're in New Mexico. You're within driving distance easily of Dulce, within Roswell's driving distance as well. What's your opinion on this conspiracy, on the reason why ghosts, or UFO hunters rather, was canceled?
Well, I think that I love the show. I think they were really coming up with something with the research that they did, and then the in the moment research that they did. I also know two of the writers who worked with Bill Burns here. One's in New Mexico, and then Alfred Lundberg is out east. And they have such integrity that what happens is that the government or the Black Ops or whoever this is, they get scared when people of integrity get involved in the mix, where you can't really pin something else on them. And if you get a whole team that has integrity, of course, you're going to use some sort of threat or intimidation. I think anytime any researcher comes out and they have integrity, they're going to meet this kind of opposition, whether it's directly Men in Black, whether it's some kind of subterfuge. I just think it's going to happen. So I think he probably told you the truth.
Liz, are you walking in a windstorm there?
No, I don't mean to be. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Eric Cooper, I saved the best for last on this one with you because as someone who served 19 and a half years in the United States Army and is now very heavily involved in paranormal emergency situations that you are, what is your opinion on the government shutting down UFO hunters?
Again, just like Dave Cruz, this is the first time I've heard about that part. And it makes me wonder if that's what happened with Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory as well. I don't know the story behind his, but his got shut down too. But yeah, and it's irritating because you get too close to the truth, and then they want to come and intimidate. And coming from a veteran perspective, I don't know if I would back down, other than if they start threatening my kids and my family, and that'd be the only way. But when it comes to, I would probably punch him in the face, just to be honest.
Would it be you or the beard that actually does it?
It would definitely be the beard.
Okay. Well, at least you have a defense in court.
Exactly. But living in the mountains, it just make a phone call and I'd have people up here. But that's irritating because I like Bill Burns' show. He had a good show going.
Absolutely. I would agree with you there. But on the flip side, the networks were the ones who were told by whatever alphabet group to shut it down. And right. So it's not like when he met up with that man in black who told him this story that, well, you're done after this year anyways. It does say something, guys, and this is part B to this question. It does say something when these alphabet groups start getting a little nervous about people like Bill and his team of researchers getting a little close to the truth, doesn't it, Eric?
Well, and I mean, it makes me wonder what he was getting close to. Was he getting close to a national security secret, or was he getting close to something alien? You know, because, I mean, Dugway Proving Grounds is a lab. If it was Roswell, it could have been a top secret, the newest spy plane. Looking at it from that regard, but why use the Men in Black unless they're just using a scare tactic? And so you can look at it from either way. Was he getting close to a security issue, or was he getting close to something alien?
Liz, do you think it had anything to do with the fact that they were getting close and bringing too much to the forefront?
Yeah, I think that their research protocol was sound. I think how they thought about problems and what they decided to look at was sound. And I think it could have been both things. I think that there could be both too much national security and too much, you know, you're on the borderline of where alien meets national security, because they were following up on good leads. And that it's a question of going about things the right way. If you go about it the right way, they're going to come after you.
Christina, we get your opinion on that. You know, the alphabet groups basically telling them you guys are done and putting the pressure on the networks because they felt they were getting a little too close.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, we see it happen quite often, and that's the sad part. But there are a lot of people out there that, I mean, he may not have any control over the fact that they're going to take the show away. But again, it does not stop the people from getting the information out. And again, for me, I'm kind of like Eric. Well, not with the punching him in the face, but I'm with Eric. It would make me want to do it even more. You know, if they're telling me that, you know, they're going to take my show from me, then okay, you can take the show, and I'll just find another avenue to get the information out.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Dave Cruz, you got the final say on this one.
All I can say about that is, I don't know, Eric. I wish I could say I'd punch him in the face too, but and you know, I'm 6'1", you know, 200 plus. That
was my version.
I wish I could say that, but you know, I think of family too, and I think of all the people that I'm connected to. But yeah, man. I mean, you know, the Men in Black. Like I was talking to some of the people in the chat and in Twitter. You know, there's a lot of good comments there, and they, from what I know about them, they're very intimidating. You know, they're very intimidating, and I think they make good on their promises. So, Bill has been around the block, you know, a few times. I'm pretty sure he knows that was probably for the best.
Probably,
probably,
and I agree with you, but you know what? I like the gumption in him that, you know, he's going to keep trying to get that message out, whether it's in books, whether it's through television or radio shows like this. So, I mean, good on him for doing that. But like he said, he would love to get back on TV, but now you got to wonder if he's blackballed for doing that. But you know what? I'm glad he's taking a stand and talking very publicly about it. It shocked me. I thought he would cover it up a little bit and say, well, no, that really wasn't the conspiracy. But he came out and said, yeah, absolutely. The government shut us down. We were getting too close to information. So I love that he had the balls to do that, and to do it on this show for our listeners was pretty phenomenal. And let's move on. Dave Cruz, you being the new guy here, you can ask your question next to the panel.
I'm going to go towards a crypto question, and I've been working a little bit closer toward with a group of researchers who do a lot of cryptid research, and they go out and they look for Bigfoot and stuff. I want to know if this will either the rest of this year or next year is going to be the time that we actually find evidence of Bigfoot. It seems like we're getting closer and closer. And go ahead, Eric. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I want to say this. We have a drone that has FLIR capacity on our team that just jumped onto our team, so we might actually be able to get some of that this year. As a matter of fact, there's a town called Darrington, which is about 10, 15 miles east of me, that has heavy Bigfoot activity, and that's how this drone guy actually got onto our team. Was there was a paranormal post on that communities group that I got tagged in, and he's another veteran. He wants to find the answers too, so he's offered his drone service, and he's got one of the top of the line drones. And the reason he had a Bigfoot encounter is because of the sound of the drone seemed to actually attract Bigfoot to his area. So we'll see what happens. I also have to still make contact with an individual that's got a hair sample that I need to get to Markham that may actually be Bigfoot hair. So you may be right. This may be the year that Bigfoot comes out a little more.
I don't know, guys. I still think that there's too many people out there who have closed off too many ideas or research. What's the word I'm looking for? Research techniques that they do not believe in themselves. I really do not think that you guys will find an answer. I think there's a secret behind it. I know I'm in the minority here. I believe Sasquatch is either interdimensional or a shapeshifter or something along those lines. I do not believe that it is a human-type creature. Sure. Do I have the proof? No. But I can tell you that, I don't think thousands of years worth of First Nations legends are wrong. And yet we as researchers, for the most part, seem to be dismissing those. So, Dave, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I really don't think it's going to be Sasquatch or any cryptid creature is going to be found within the next 2 years. I think, with all the technology that people have up there, whether it's drones, whether it's trail cams, we're not getting it now. And even if you did get the footage, some of it looks so absolutely fake that you're not going to be able to get that Patterson-Gimlin type film. I mean, let's face it. If you go back to Patterson-Gimlin, and we've said this numerous times on this show, next to the JFK film, the Zapruder film, the Patterson-Gimlin film has been busted any which way and researched any which way possible. And still, there's a debate almost 60 years later, 50 years later, whether or not that creature was real. But I don't think Patterson and Gimlin are taking the time to sew a pair of boobs on an ape outfit just for a joke. Christina.
Yes.
Your opinion?
Well, I agree. I agree with you. I mean, first of all, my personal opinion is that Bigfoot is probably interdimensional. And I think that if a Bigfoot was going to be captured, I think it already would have happened. I don't think that it's going to happen, to be honest. I think they're so elusive, and we captured glimpses of them, but nobody's been able to capture one. Nobody's really been able to get any, there's been some good evidence out there, but again, it's very, very hard to get anybody to even believe the real evidence, because there's so much crap evidence out there, or faked stuff out there. So I don't see it happening in the next few years, personally.
Well, and I know y'all saw that news story that broke about the Bigfoot body found on the lake shore, which was proven to be fake, I believe. That's circling around still, and I keep having it. It doesn't come in our group because, I just delete it once it's proven fake. But what puzzled me about that story was they're talking about, and they have this body and it's covered up. If you want to show proof, show the body. Don't show up a covered up mound. That doesn't prove nothing. But then they bring up, well, the military came in, and the military's no. why would the military come in and rope off the area? That smells hokey to me as well. Which those were the two red flags that rose for me on that story right from the beginning.
Well, the worst part about it is that it's a satire site that anybody can go and create a story and say whatever they want. I mean, somebody went and made one the other day and posted it on mine about somebody getting attacked and eaten by an alligator on the Sacramento River where I live as a joke because they know I'm afraid of alligators. And again, people were sharing this all over social media. So, you know, and I look at it and I'm like, if people, you know, all these researchers, but yet nobody happens to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the site where it clearly says it's for entertainment purposes only, and none of the information in the articles are true. It's just for satire.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Liz, you have had Sasquatch encounters. Where do you stand on this?
Well, when he was asking the question, I was actually seeing some good information coming out this fall. So, you know, in the intuitive way, it was like, oh, yeah, that could happen this year. That could happen in 2018. And then Eric said that he had a hair sample to send in to Eric. It might be us because I also found my 2 hair samples. So we should send those to Eric because maybe we'll be the ones who get the proof.
And I can only hope, because the hair sample came from the guy was 6'3", had to stand on his almost tippy toes to reach the branch that his hair was on. So that puts his arm span probably close to 8.5 to 9 foot, which according to Tyler, our Bigfoot specialist, that would be about the height where the longest hair on the shoulders of Bigfoot would be. Now, so that puts it about the range, because I had people, it's probably horsehair. Horsehair, you know what, Clydesdales don't go up in that area of the mountains. it would have to be a really tall horse for that kind of a sample. And going by the branch it was on, it was embedded in the branch. And so even if a bird grabbed horsehair and flew to make a nest and got stuck, I don't buy that one either. Now, I'm with you, Dave, on the interdimensional. You know that.
Yes, I do.
I keep telling these people up in Darrington, look, set up a gifting site. Hang up CDs from tree branches. Take some marbles out. Things like that. Start getting their attention and start getting their trust, and you might be able to start interacting with them. So that's actually an area we'll be looking at for a camp out and a training exercise, and start using drone operations, and we might just get something. You never know. I can only hope.
How do you feel about those answers, Davey?
Yeah, I think those are all great answers. I totally agree with everyone, you know, and I just hope that we do come over with something in the next couple of years. I think it would be great. You know, the whole technology thing. Even if, because I've spoken to, you know, Native Americans, you know, from the reservations that have talked about Sasquatch and how they've actually commune with Sasquatch because it's more of a spiritual nature. And, you know, that makes sense to me, you know, how they can get away with not being seen, you know, from drones or cameras or whatever. Of course, there's going to be lots of people who are going to fake this stuff because they want to make a buck, just like the Nazca Mummy, just like all these other things. That's my opinion, of course. But, you know, I was hoping, and if they are interdimensionals, that would be awesome if we can get someone who could channel Bigfoot or something like that. I don't know. I just think there's lots of possibilities, and I'm open to just about anything.
Well, Liz can channel Bigfoot. She's done it before.
Mm-hmm. You can channel Bigfoot, Dave.
Yeah, Dave can too.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. I don't like talking about that stuff. Don't like talking about that stuff. I'm just a hidden gem here. Just a hidden gem, and I will just keep quiet about that. Keep quiet about that. You know. All right, let's move on to a question from the audience. This one comes from Robin in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Getting back to the whole Men in Black situation, and Christina, we'll talk with you on this. He goes, why wouldn't the Men in Black be the president's secret service that is a secret society that we don't know about?
Well, I think that they already are part of the secret shadow government. I don't think that it's, just a branch of the military that you go and sign up for. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me the way that the things are going.
Mm-hmm. I could see it happening. I could totally see it happening. However, I think there's so much secrecy going on that, and we hear about all these, high levels of security that are, above top secret, that there would have to be a special police force to take care of those, because let's face it, from everything that we have learned on this show, the president is not, above top secret.
No, Eric, absolutely not.
Eric, your thoughts?
Yeah, and the shadow government, it needs to be taken care of. It needs to be removed. It just does. I understand national security. I understand all that, but they've got DARPA and they've got the military for that. But when it comes to secrecy within UFO, within the paranormal side, it needs to be removed. And like Dave Cruz has said earlier, there's two types of Men in Black. There's the extraterrestrial side, which they're the ones that look fake. You see that throughout research and throughout history. Or they're the ones that drive the vintage 1920s, 1930s limousines, look at a place, move robotic, things of that nature. And then you got the black suiters. And yeah, I believe those could be maybe a branch off of the Secret Service.
Mm-hmm. Elizabeth, what do you think?
Well, I've talked about this a lot when I was writing my book, because in one of my experiences where I was taken and the police were looking for me, two men showed up at my house during the event, and they told my stepmother that they were with the FBI, and they took all of my journals. And in these journals, I had dream journals, and I had written about things that were unusual. And so they showed up like within an hour of me being missing at my house. I wasn't even missing from my house. And they told her they were with the FBI, but they didn't leave any FBI pink slip, and they didn't do the appropriate paperwork, and the journals were never returned to me. I asked a friend at the FBI later, within the last 5 years, what he thought. Did he think they were with the FBI? And he said, no, they would have left a pink slip. And when the investigation was done, you would have had your journals returned to you. Every FBI agent has to do that. But what I think when I look at it intuitively is that there is an FBI-trained interagency, if they're not the alien ones, which we all know about that look like aliens don't quite act right, that there's an FBI-trained interagency force that is very secret that reports to the other agencies but meets with people as FBI agents, because the FBI can investigate people domestically, at least in the United States. I don't know about Canada. I don't know how it would work. But so I think that they may have been, quote-unquote, FBI agents, but not working under the same rules. So sort of working for the shadow government or the secret government or behind the scenes.
Dave Cruz?
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's all right. We know you're out there tweeting. We caught you.
I am. I'm talking to all the space travelers out there. I'm trying to get to know them and everything. So, I'm sorry. What was the question?
Well, let me. While you're there, I'm going to warn you about John Porter. Because what John Porter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio will try and do is he will literally send you tweets at hashtag Spaced Out Radio that will try to make you laugh during the show. So you have to be a little bit prepared. You have to be a little bit prepared for what he is going to send your way. He's dangerous. He is dangerous. You have to be prepared.
I appreciate that heads up.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
I see him out there, by the way. Yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, the Men in Black, they're just man. I like what Eric said, because I do believe, that there are two versions of the Men in Black. I also feel that they might even be time travelers. And, whether or not they're human, or they could be from our future. I mean, I hate to say it, but when you watch shows like Fringe and, X-Files, a lot of those kinds of topics, they do seem like those are very plausible. And especially with the Men in Black, they're just, they're the way I've seen them portrayed as, they seem like they're robotic and they're mechanical, and they're almost like gray aliens, right? I mean, they're very close to that. So what's to say is they're not, our future brethren, if you want to call them that. I've even heard the Greys are quite possibly from the future, and they are, from the human race as well. So, anything's possible. So I hope that that kind of answers questions.
All right, moving on. Let's get to Eric Cooper's first question of the night on the SOR Roundtable. Happens the final Friday of every month. Coop, is it you asking, or is it the beard?
It's the beard, because this is a pet peeve of mine. And since Dave's only got the first hour, I've got to ask this while Dave's on, because it involves alien abduction. And why is it that people in the paranormal field can accept ghosts and spirits and that side of it, but when you mention alien abduction or alien abductees or even UFOs, you get criticized, called a nut job? I mean, it happened today. We're working an abducted case right now, as a matter of fact, whereas she got sent over from another group, and even in that group, people are criticizing abductees and saying, oh, you're just a crackpot, you need to go see a psychiatrist, and yada, yada. So why is it that people in our own field can't accept one side of the paranormal, but can accept the, ghosts and spirits and whatnot completely?
Well, I'm going to hop in on that, and that's because most people in this field are way too narrow-minded. I mean, you have researchers in like we just talked about with cryptids, who believe they're looking for an animal, and they're refusing to look at the fact that it could be interdimensional or not. You have people in the paranormal trying to say they're conducting science when they're not conducting any scientific evidence, and they're not even presenting that evidence to their client. We have people out there who are doing the same thing in the field of ufology, saying, well, the experience doesn't matter anymore. It's all about disclosure, which I do not believe will happen in our lifetime whatsoever. And I'm saying full governmental disclosure on that, even though I do believe there has been a mild form of it. So the fact that we can sit there and discredit, and say, where's the proof? Well, listen to my story. Well, no, that's not proof. There is more evidence out there right now that would convict a person for murder if the tides were turned, and yet we do not believe it. We do not believe it. We're fickle. We're angry that we haven't got the $64,000 answer that we want. And we've seen enough rhetoric, and people out there who want to believe have seen enough rhetoric and BS out there, from disinformation people to people like the amazing Randy, who are trying to, discredit absolutely everyone and everything, that I don't think we'll ever get the true answer that anybody would want that would give us 100% concrete proof.
Agreed.
That's a very good answer, Dave. I also feel that a lot of people just don't believe anything unless they've actually witnessed it or they experienced it for themselves. Quite frankly, I would never want to experience that. The last conference I was at the 30th annual Ozark conference in Arkansas, and I was lucky enough to catch Travis Walton. And I've heard Travis's story many times, heard him on many shows. But when I looked into that guy's eyes and he told me his, story very briefly, he didn't have to go into it for me to actually, believe him that something happened to him that night, whether it was ET or government doing a psyop. He experienced something. It was horrifying. Mm-hmm. It was something that, nobody should ever have to go through, but people do. They do remember it. Sometimes they have to use regression. Sometimes they have screen memories, but the truth of the matter is they did go through something, and it's something that I would never want to go through. It's a scary thing. I totally believe, who am I to say, that they're lying? That's not my job. In my opinion, my job is to listen and to let them tell their side of the story.
Mm-hmm. Christina, your thoughts?
Well, I'm agreeing with everybody else here that's already been asking. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time, and it's one of the reasons that when I started my radio show, originally the name was Paranormal Connections, because it was so crazy that you had all these people in the paranormal field that believed in ghosts and spirits and demons and whatever you want to call everything, but they couldn't believe in aliens. And then you had all the people in ufology that believed in aliens and all this stuff, and they didn't believe in ghosts and spirits. And then nobody in those two fields was believing in Bigfoot, and Bigfoot didn't believe in the other one. So it was so separate, and everybody was doing their own thing. And the research that I was, finding, as well as my own personal experiences, was that all of these fields, were very interconnected. And I felt like if instead of having all of these, either a paranormal conference, a cryptozoology conference, or a UFO conference, that, the way to go about it is to do a conference which covered everything. Bring everybody in, let them share their evidence with people in the lectures, and then see if that changes anybody's mind. I mean, some of the information that you can find that, correlates between the fields is mind-blowing. But so many people don't know it because they're just so, wrapped in just their own little bubble in their field. So I definitely think that that's part of the reason. But I do see that things are starting to kind of shift. People are starting to see that there's more connection there. People are starting to pique their interest. There's more conferences like Eric's last year, where we covered everything there, and again this year, and your conference coming up. All these things are covering all these different topics. So I think that's even the best way to kind of educate people is these people are going to the conferences, give them a taste of a little bit of everything, and let them make up their minds.
Mm-hmm. Liz, you got the final say.
Oh my gosh, I was listening to the answer and now I'm wondering about the question. Oh, okay. I have a plethora of thoughts about this question. The first one is that alien abductions are so freaking scary that if you have a team of people going out to do research, and they might be heading into something that they would not personally be able to handle, or don't have the emotional or sort of the courage to handle, they're more likely to decide instead to basically just, beat up the client, because that's just too freaking scary. That's beyond what they can handle. And as an abductee, what we find happening is that people who have had experiences with us sometimes will cut us off. People who hear about our experiences will cut us off because they're scared. And so I think it's a way of the sort of bravado of a person who is a coward becoming a bully that makes people do this too about alien abduction, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way I see it.
And I agree, but that's my argument, is if you are in a paranormal group, for example, or if you are in the paranormal field and you can't handle something, then get the hell out. Don't ridicule people that are being terrified by, and the easiest way to explain it is, sure, you can go in, you can clear out a spirit, you can clear out a demon, you can clear out, whatever, and that person's safe. When it comes to the abductee, what do you tell them? Sorry, we can't. Until recently, now we are actually stopping abductions, and we successfully stopped the one today. But until we start using the astral to fight abductions, what did I tell an abductee? I'm sorry you're going through this, and we're here for an ear, and we'll find you a support group to help you, and start dream journaling. I'm not one to endorse hypnotherapy. And I know you disagree with me, Elizabeth, but some abductees don't need to have that door open. You got abductees that commit suicide because of what they find. And that's where my argument with that lies.
I've never met any abductees who have, but the other thing is I've only worked with people who are licensed psychotherapists, and have only worked with other abductees who are working with licensed psychotherapists. If you go to any sort of, just somebody Joe fly-by-night hypnotherapist or regressive hypnotherapist, no, I wouldn't suggest it. So, because most of the people who are looking into abductions are more afraid of the abductions themselves, and they are not suicidal. And if somebody is regressing somebody who's an abductee and they are suicidal, it's two polar opposites. You usually want to know that you're safe and that you're going to live. And people who want to know that they're going to live and they're going to get through it are good candidates for regression. People who have other things going on that they haven't dealt with and they actually need a licensed psychiatrist or psychotherapist, they need that. They don't just need a regression. So it's complicated. I would say that it's a complicated situation, and that regressions themselves for abductees do not cause. They can do a lot of good if they're handled in the right way and if the person is ready for it. A lot more good than harm. But if not, no, I suppose they might hurt somebody. I just haven't met any of those people.
Christina, let's get to your first question of the night here. We only got about 4 minutes left before we got to go to the break, but we'll get you started off and we'll continue it next hour if we want.
All right. Well, I want to see what everybody's thoughts are. I have been running into a rash of videos that have been posted, say, on maybe social media, and then they immediately go viral. And they're usually, say, YouTube videos, and they'll have titles with claims of, captured a shadow person that was an Egyptian priest, or we captured a demon child with horns and things as evidence. And you go and you click on these videos, and you're like, what am I even looking at? Like, I did see a shadow, but it was absolutely somebody in their team that crossed over a light source, because it wasn't like, a shadow figure that you were seeing that was, standing upright. This was a shadow that went across the floor as if somebody crossed the light source. Or, the so-called devil child with the horns. I didn't see any child or spirit of a child that had any horns. So, what are you guys' thoughts about this, what I say is kind of clickbait, because people are getting paid for these videos, but they are being shared by people in not only the paranormal field, but the ufology field and cryptozoology field as well, as if they're true. And do you think that it's, hurting our field?
I think it's totally hurting our field, because what it's doing is it's showing the gullibility that people have out there anymore. And, you can't trust any video. You can't just trust anything you see anymore. And this is where I think a lot of good, smart-natured people are getting fed up with the BS that is happening on social media and channels like YouTube. It's ridiculous because you can't get a straight answer. I mean, it's the same thing, Christina. I'm sure you've seen them, where they have the CGI other planet in the background, and this was shot in Wisconsin. Oh, yeah. What do you think it is? Well, it's computer generated, or are you just that stupid? Like, what are you trying to pull here? I mean, this is the problem, is we have so much fear-mongering and so much, people looking for the truth because they don't know where to turn anymore, that we keep shooting ourselves in the foot and makes us all gullible, and it makes us all look bad.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Well,
absolutely.
I didn't expect you guys to agree that quickly. Damn you.
Well, I think CGI is used too much, obviously, and I'm also excited in that we have a new team member that's working on a degree in cinematography, and has a background in special effects and whatnot from California. So we're going to put him to the test with, we see a video, analyze it.
All right, guys, I'm going to cut you off here because we are going to come back from a break. We're going to say goodnight to Dave Cruz. He's got to go tend to a birthday party. He's got his little pointy hat, gnome hat, party hat on right now as he's going to go cut the cake or something. So, Davey, thank you so much for being with us. More of the SOR Paranormal Roundtable with yours truly, Eric Cooper, Christina George, and Elizabeth Anglin right after this. Looking for a great weekend getaway this fall? Hi there, this is Dave Scott. Come on up to the heart of British Columbia for the first annual Spaced Out Radio Caribou Paracon, being held at the Spruce Hills Spa and Resort in 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Speakers from all over North America are coming to discuss Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, and intuitiveness for the 3-day event, September 29th to October 1st. For more information, go to spacedoutradio.com and click on the Caribou Paracon banner and book your tickets today. Come to BC, where the paranormal is waiting for you.
The SOR Sightlines is a place for you to find answers to your strange experiences. Hi there, this is Mike Schmidt. If you have had an encounter with ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, ETs, or anything else that doesn't make sense, head to spacedoutradio.com and file a Sightlines report. All information you give is 100% confidential, and I will personally help you find the answers you need. SOR Sightlines, your answers are a click away.
Have you got your Cosmic Passport? If you need one, tune in to Cosmic Passport on Spaced Out Weekend. This is Elizabeth Anglin, ET experiencer, spirit medium, and host of Cosmic Passport. Each weekend I'll be bringing you interviews and support from other paranormal experiencers, and the best in intuitive spiritual guidance from across the globe. It's all happening starting at 9 p.m. Pacific Time, midnight Eastern, on spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with U4COP. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witkowski's Strange Days.
This is Eric Markham, news editor for the Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter Online. We have put together a great team of writers and journalists from all over the world to bring you top-quality paranormal stories. From alien encounters to the latest conspiracies, you won't find any of that fake news here. True stories and top-notch reporting as we look to bring these experiences to the mainstream. The Encounter Online, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and hashtag Spaced Out Radio, and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back to the second hour of Space Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you with us. Tomorrow night and Sunday, we're going to have a couple of network replays as we are refurbishing the weekend shows. Dave Cruz, who you heard on in hour number 1, will take over Space Out Saturdays starting August 5th. And on August 6th, Elizabeth Anglin, Spaced Out Sundays. Cosmic Passport will continue on as we look to shake things up a little bit here and bring some new product and some new hosts on for you. I hope you give us the time to get used to the change, but it's going to be great nonetheless. Starting 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time, I'm going to play a couple of good shows that I love tomorrow and Sunday. I hope you enjoy. Let me know. We want to welcome in everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and over 160 countries around the world. We're live at KTLK, The Fringe FM, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Canaliculodracocystotomy. What the hell is that? Seriously, Bill, you're off your rocker again. You know, this is what happens when the Toronto Maple Leafs haven't won a Stanley Cup in 50 years. Canaliculodacriocystotomy. Oh, that was wrong. I'm not even trying it again. I'll figure it out for next hour. Bill sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Now, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio if you want to connect live with us during the show. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. Tune us in on TuneIn, iHeartRadio in the United States. We're on iTunes as well. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including joining the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month, read up on the encounter online, shop at our Spaced Out Radio store, watch videos from UFO seekers, and Contact TV. We are building it bigger and better. We want to have you continue to show up and see what you think as well. Tonight we have the Roundtable. Dave Cruz had to drop out due to his daughter's birthday party, but we still got Eric Cooper, Elizabeth Anglin, and Christina George with us, so we're going to run the four of us. How you doing, everyone?
Doing good. Good.
I got my ass kicked by that password. I'm not going to lie. Canali Kulo Dakri Osistostomi. Canali Kulo Dacrio Cystostomy. I don't even know what the hell that is. I don't even think it's a word.
How do I know where he gets these words?
I don't know. It's painful, though. It's very painful. And, he said he was going level 10 on the anxious meter for the password for tonight. So, Bill, you kicked my butt. You really kicked my butt. I don't like it. But what can I do? That was a terrible password. Tanya, all the way down in Australia at hashtag Space Out Radio, is laughing at me. Thank you, Tanya. I see you were there. Canadian Joe, yes, Bill Cardwell does need a beatdown for that one. But you know what? He makes some great maple syrup, so we have to be very kind to him because he does make some good maple syrup, and he's in Ontario where you are, so track him down for your bottle of syrup. That's what I would be doing. Anyhow, we continue with the SOR Roundtable. We do it the final Friday of every month. It's our chance around here after a busy month of work to just kind of chill out, relax, and try and figure out what is going on in the world. Now, I'm coming up to my second question here because, that's kind of what I do. Or Christina, would you like us to finish on yours that you didn't have much chance with on the first one?
It's up to you, Dave.
Well, no, I asked your opinion on live radio here, so we have to, figure it out.
Well, sure. I'd love to hear everybody's opinion on it. So sure.
Oh, okay.
There's the only one left.
Do you want to re-ask the question if you don't mind?
Yeah, it was just about all of the videos out there with these fantastic claimed titles, more like clickbait, and then there are these fake videos, or they are explainable, or there's just really nothing there. Do you think that it's hurting the field with all of these fake videos, not just in the paranormal, but ufology and cryptozoology as well, because they're coming out across the board?
Well, and yeah, because now once the real thing comes out, everyone's going to look at it and go, another CGI.
Right.
So does it hit does it hurt the field? Hell yeah, it does. And most of these people are after their 15 minutes of fame. They're making money off the clicks. So I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
And I don't even think that they're looking for the fame, because some of these videos are pretty obvious that they're fake. But again, for every person that clicks on it and, watches it, even if they only go halfway through it, they're going to get paid for it. And some of these are getting, millions of hits.
Yeah.
Who's to blame for that? Who is honestly to blame for that? Is it the people who are gullible enough to click on them to see something fake? Or is it something that we want to check it out because we know it's fake and we want to make some snarky comment on it? Whose fault is it for creating that?
I think both. Yeah. because you've got the person who created it, and then you've got people that are not only watching it, so you're going to get half of the people who are going to watch it, and they're going to be gullible, and they're going to believe it, so they're going to share it, and then you're going to get the other half of people like me that see this stuff and they put it out there and point out how fake it is, and people need to, do a little bit more research into this stuff. But either way, it still gets shared. So there's, we're making the round. So it's kind of a catch-22.
Well, I think in my end, I blame the viewer. I really do blame the viewer. And I just get so sick and tired of this stuff coming up, Elizabeth, that I scroll right past it. And I don't even bother clicking on the video right now. And it's so frustrating for me because we're in this show, with this show here, we get new listeners every few nights. Like, I'm looking in the Spreaker chat room right now. I see a couple of people I don't recognize. Steve Foster, Don and Brent Ebler. I appreciate you guys coming in. We see new people all the time coming in here, and we are trying to do something here that helps build credibility for these topics that we are talking about on a nightly basis. We don't want to be a podcast. We want to be that journalistic source that people can trust when it comes to this show. And I can tell you this, it is so frustrating for me when I see people type out, Elizabeth, can you believe if this is real or not? What do you think it is? How do you think it got there? Are you kidding me? Stop being so foolish. So I don't so much blame the person who is making it. I blame the fools who are actually believing that this crap is real.
Yeah.
Completely agree, and that's why I'm such a stickler on what comes into Forest Moon Paranormal. When it comes to our group, I had to change the settings. Originally, I said everybody posting whatever, but you change the settings to where you have to moderate it, because if it looks fake, if I can't validate it, it doesn't go in the group. I have 7,500 people in our group that I hold personally, to my own standard to keep them with legit news stories. So, yeah, if it's fake, if it's from Before It's News or any of the crap sites out there, it doesn't go in the group. And if something does go in the group, I find out later, then it gets deleted. That's how you stop it. Can you stop it on YouTube? No. But again, I completely agree. It's the viewer that's the fault for falling for it.
Yeah.
It's sheer stupidity. Liz, do you want to have the final say on this?
Well, it's human nature to want a physicalization of what may be a spiritual event or a cosmology. They want to see something physical, and so this basic human need to have some sort of physical proof or potential physical proof is very high. Most people are not just okay with a mental representation, or perhaps, they've come in contact with something and that they have experienced, and then they're looking for, and it might be something physical, it might be a touch or a feeling or a candle or something, a shadow, something goes on with them. Then they're looking for, again, other physicalizations of that. And the problem is that 99% of the time you're not going to get that kind of physicalization of this phenomena, but everybody wants it. So it's like crack. It's like crack bait, for people who really want it, who really want some sort of proof. And, can you blame people for being human? Well, yeah, but there are worse things that people do with their naivete, which involves the paranormal, which I was going to ask questions about later. But, this is relatively innocent and understandable, in my opinion.
I think it's very, very interesting indeed. I'm going to get to my second question of the night here. And this goes to, I'm going to bring it out of the paranormal realm here a little bit. and I'm going to go into something sort of reality. You know, I had to take a week off in July due to the forest fires here in British Columbia, where I was evacuated from my house for 15 days, actually evacuated twice during that line. And, you know, what I was able to learn about myself was pretty incredible. You know, I had never been put in that type of situation before, being evacuated from my home. And, you know, thank goodness in the forest fires here, not a single person died as a result of this situation. So my question to all of you is, you know, I learned a lot about preparation through this. And I learned what I did right, and I learned what I did wrong. What I did wrong was I wasn't prepared to ever evacuate my house. So when it was time for the evacuation order to be given, I had to run through every room of my house figuring what do I grab and what do I not. I've since changed that. I'm in the process of making one of my storage rooms what we call now the bug-out room. So in case we ever get evacuated again, I know where I'm grabbing things. So if any one of you were to grab, say, your top 3 items from your home right now because you needed to evacuate your house, what would it be? Liz, let's start with you. And this is not pets or family photos included.
Oh, it's all my tax information from the shop and my inventory list and my expenses, because I make what appears to be a lot of money, but by the time you get through with expenses, I need to have that proof that I have not made anywhere near the amount of money that it looks like with inventory and other things. So right away it would be taxes. I'm a purse hoarder, so I keep almost all of my IDs and everything else in my purse. So please don't come and steal my purse, because I would be screwed. But I need to have a bug-out box for taxes and expenses. And then the dog and the cat and clothes and underwear. That would be it. I don't really need anything else. My computer.
How about you, Eric? Now let's preface this. Your history in the Army, your history of almost 20 years in the United States Army has you prepared for this. You've been in 4 combat situations. So take us through it.
This is too easy. Okay, and for the listeners, we already have a survival group set up. And so coming from the survivalist point of view, I've got 2 4x4s. One's a Ford Expedition 7-seater, the other is my Ford Explorer, and it's my Paranormal emergency truck. It's already got the bug-out bag in it. As far as just grabbing stuff out of the house, probably my laptop. We already have a briefcase with all the important papers in it. That's just a grab and go. We're already set up. So if I had to grab 3 things, minus the photographs, because that's a given, probably the briefcase with the important stuff in it, my weapons, my laptop. Cut and dried. Everything else is already packed. Okay, so talking from a preparation point of view, if you can Google this, look for an emergency action plan. Download it, fill it out, go over it with your family. Things you got to think about is medications. If you're on medication, things you need to think about are 3 days. That's the normal number, is a 72-hour pack. Because if I know you would go off for 15 days. That's a more extreme situation with we're in the summer months. It's wildfire season. So you got to grab and go. But your 72-hour pack, your important papers, any weapons, because unfortunately with people today, I don't know if you got looted or not, but looters come out of the woodwork when they know there's an evacuation going on. So you have to think about what you want to have when you get home that looters ain't going to get. Okay, TVs are expendable. My weapons aren't. So you have to look at it from that perspective.
I took my guitars.
There you go.
All 5 of them. I took all 5 of my guitars. I left the kids' toys, but damn it, I got my guitars.
Well, kids' toys are replaceable. You can go to the dollar store and get new kids' toys.
Mm-hmm.
But But yeah, and I would look at FEMA.org or .gov. As much as people hate FEMA, they have a lot of preparatory type stuff. And if they want to jump into our group, we have a whole library of nothing but everything under the sun for survival, and that's this Gadget Homesteaders group. And again, go to the library, everything you need is right there. I think you're even in that group, Dave.
Yeah, I could be. But I will say this. I am looking at actually getting an RV next year because that I can tow. Because I can tell you this, some of the little things that drove me nuts, and Christina, we're going to get to you here in a second, but some of the little things that drove me nuts over time, being away from my house for so long, was the little things. Not being able to shower in your own shower or even go to the bathroom. Not having your own utensils to eat from, or sleeping on your own pillow, or, drinking out of your own glasses. It sounds so vain, like, oh, Dave, you're just blowing this out of proportion because you're on the radio and you want to make it sound what it's like. But, Mark, I know you're listening in and you are in the Spreaker chat room right now. I'm sure you can agree with me on this, it's the little things that absolutely drive you crazy that you don't have. I forgot all my clothes. I grabbed some. I did grab some, but I didn't grab nearly enough clothes. I only grabbed 2 pairs of socks for 15 days. Thank goodness it was warm so I could wear flip-flops and slip-on shoes and didn't have to wear socks. I grabbed 1 pair of jeans, forgot everything else. I had 2 pairs of shorts. I had 5 t-shirts, 5 pairs of underwear. That was it. I grabbed my toiletries, so at least I smelled good. But, there is a lot. And as for the looters, Eric, I do have to say this. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police were absolutely awesome. And literally in my area of the 108, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a freaky story, and then we'll get to Christina's 3 that she would bring. In my area of 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia, when they evacuated us, of course, looters do come in. But they literally had about 100 RCMP officers hidden in the forests, in the trees, in the yards, all dressed in black like ninjas, and riding around on ATVs, looking specifically for looters in this area. And they busted people. But in an evacuation situation, I never knew this, that the RCMP actually has a team, a recon team, set up that works in stealth. Not even the firefighters knew they were there. And they are going property to property, checking things out. Now, what kind of gear they have, I'm sure they have infrared cameras or FLIR cameras or something along those lines to see if there's any movement around. But they, as far as I know, I think 10 or 12 people got busted up in Williams Lake, which is about 45 minutes north. When they were evacuated, they found a guy who had stolen $65,000 worth of heavy equipment from people's yards and parked it on his own yard, the idiot. So thankfully he's in jail right now. But, kudos to the RCMP because our areas really didn't get broken into. Now, Christina, what would be your 3 that you remember?
Well, I've been, living in California and expecting and waiting for the big earthquake to hit any time. I actually have bug-out bags that have been ready for long time. I have one in the trunk of my car. I also have one near the front door of my apartment, and that includes, I have copies of birth certificates, any important paperwork. I have it in each bag because, of course, if something happens and I'm away from my house, I'm not going to have access to any of the things in the house. So I have copies in all of the bags, as well as I have the originals in a folder in my house. So, and then I also, I have a terminal illness, so I take quite a few medications. And so I switched over like a year ago to the mail order service where they send me 3 months supply at a time. So, have, you know, medication. If something was to happen, I at least would have some medication to get me through that time. And I've got some clothes in the bag. So that's pretty much all that I would need, and probably some kind of weapon. Maybe a knife that I could use, you know, for cutting things as well as for protection if need be, because I don't have a gun, but that's pretty much.
Absolutely. And you know what saved me up here was I had my friend Mike stop by, and then good friends of ours, Corey and Lana, they stopped by on their way back up to Prince George, and they actually, all four of us, literally loaded my pictures. So Corey and Lana were literally running around taking photographs of all the stuff in our house just in case we got looted or in case the fire burned. And the rest of it, you know, while Mike and I were literally shoveling as much as we could into two vehicles. And I've never been more thankful to have a truck. I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really couldn't have been more thankful to have a truck that I did there. But I'm going to tell you a little bit of a freaky story that I heard today, and then we'll change topics. So, 2 houses in the 108 Mile Ranch area burned down during the fire. And from one of the properties, the fire actually jumped over. And one of the firefighters, who is an assistant captain who with the local fire hall here, I was talking with him today. And we were talking about where it jumped the road on what they call Block Drive here. And when the fire jumped the Block Drive, the firefighters were pouring so much water on it, yet the fire was so hot the water wasn't even doing anything. And it started to spread. And over top, what they do is, it's like a game plan. You have the firefighters come in, and I'm learning all this stuff, so it's kind of cool to pass it on. So you got the firefighters on the ground, and they're literally being controlled by somebody up in a helicopter. And literally in the helicopter, there's the person who's saying, okay, this is where the fire's going. And the person who is the forest fire professional who's sitting in the helicopter basically said that if the fire jumps Block Drive, we've lost the 108 because everything is so tinder dry right now. So the fire jumps it. They're trying to get the fire out across the street. They cannot get it out. It's just burning that hot. And long story short, he said as they were fighting that fire to try and keep it down, all of a sudden, he said it was like the hand of God just came down and automatically pushed the winds that were blowing at about 25 miles an hour east to about 25 miles an hour to the west. Pushed the fire and the flames right back into itself. And that's how they were able to extinguish the fire. And they talked about that for days afterwards, that they had no clue why at that moment that the wind just switched direction, because I guess in forest fires that rarely ever happens, and it just happened there. Because I found out today as well in talking with my friend that they were ready to let the entire 108 Mile Ranch area burn. If they figured they had to sacrifice the 108 Mile Ranch area, and literally there's about 400 or 500 homes in this area, they were willing to do that to make sure that it didn't get to the forests across the highway. Mm-hmm. So that literally took me back a step and was kind of like, holy cow, that was a lot closer than what I thought it would be. So I just wanted to mention that story because I've been keeping everybody updated on what's been going on. So, yeah, it's surreal, man. It's absolutely surreal, and I really hope that I never have to do that again. All right, let's move to another question. Coop, what's your second question of the night?
Okay, second question of the night. Let's talk about Nibiru. So you look at all these sites, there's these groups that are sitting there fear-mongering that Nibiru is going to crash into the planet and whatnot, and oh my God, it's the end of the world. And it gets old real fast. Then you have a scientist coming out saying, yes, Nibiru is a red star and this and that. And personally, in my opinion, Nibiru, through research, Nibiru is actually an anti-king craft, which is why it's been sitting there for a long time. It stopped. So what are your thoughts? What's up with all the fear-mongering? What's up with, what's your thoughts on Nibiru?
Liz?
I'm not concerned about Nibiru. I have never been concerned with Nibiru. I have never had any aliens tell me to be concerned with Nibiru. There are things to be concerned about that one should be concerned about. Nibiru, in my lifetime so far, has not been one of them.
I'm not concerned about it either.
So what's up? So what's up with all the fear-mongering?
Again, we're playing into human nature that there are people in the world who want to feel like they know about something other people don't know, or they have physical proof of it. But there's also adrenaline addiction, where stories like this and other stories, which I was going to get into later, are really playing into a human need to feel powerful when they feel like they have no power, or feeling like they need to have that excitement, or they need to have something to worry about, or they need to have drama. And Nibiru has always seemed that way to me. It may be real, but it's not something that you need to worry about. It's just, if it is real, it is just a thing. It's not a thing that is, the sky is falling. It's not Chicken Little time. It's just something that's out there. It's a thing. So...
Well, I personally think that a lot of people are afraid of this is because, again, people fear what they don't understand. And from my understanding, the showing up of Nibiru, this won't be the first time it's happened. It will be the first time in our lifetime that it may happen. But again, anything that is different from the norm scares people, and so they put out these sensational stories because people flock to them, because although they're scared, they're also very intrigued, so they can't get away from it. It's crazy. Again, it's so much information out there, and people can put anything. Now alternative news sites used to be a great source for alternative news. But now that's even changed because the platforms have opened them up to, their members adding stories. And so people are just going in and just creating all these fake stories. And so, and again, then they get shared. So people don't really know what to believe. Should they be scared? Should they not? Some people say Nibiru will show up and it will be fine. Others say that it'll cause all these cataclysmic events to happen. But again, if it's going to happen, there's not anything that we can do about it. So it's not like, being upset and worried about it is going to change a thing. I mean, we don't know what to expect if it shows up. So we're just going to have to sit back and see. Deal with it as it comes.
I'm not a fan of the whole Nibiru thing, Eric, and I'm going to call it a thing because I really don't believe that there is anything really to it. The whole Planet X coming into our solar system and screwing with our gravity, I think it's just another piece of fear-mongering, like you said, that, is going to rile up the alternative, and it's an easy way to get people distracted, whether it's Nibiru, whether it's the Mandela effect, whether it's, garden gnomes turning to real life, and I know, here come the garden gnome pictures. Damn it, why did I say that? Why did I say that?
You opened that door.
Yes, I did. So I really think that there is a lot of garbage out there, in regards to what is fact and what is reality. And why are we not seeing this with our telescopes? If this Nibiru is so close, there's a lot of amateur astronomers out there who have some pretty powerful telescopes. They could see Saturn up close. They could see Jupiter up close. They could see out to Neptune. Okay? And, I don't know. I'm guessing here now. But the whole point is, if Nibiru is that close, where is it? Where is it? Okay?
You'd be seeing a lot more. You'd be seeing a lot more stories if it was that close.
Exactly. And the other part to that is, okay, it would be lit up, much like every other planet is lit up by our sun. So where is it? Where are you hiding, Nibiru? Where are you hiding? You know what? I'll tell you right now, Nibiru and Carl are hanging out.
They are. Maybe Nibiru's. Maybe Carl's on Nibiru.
Oh, you know what? He probably is. He probably is.
That's why you can't see either one of them.
Yes. Yes.
There we go. We've solved it. We've solved Carl.
Karen Smurl, who is a very, very good friend of this show, and she actually asked me to be on her show coming up here very soon, which I graciously accepted. As I'm going to be a guest on her show. We just got to hit the concrete date on that. She has a question for us. Do you think Nibiru is just another way for the news and government to keep us focused on something, to keep our attention away from the important news? Every year it's a pandemic, a meteor, etc. I think it's a great follow-up question. Christina, let's start with you.
Absolutely could be. I mean, again, we know with television, especially with the government, they can put anything out, and many people, just like sheep, will just follow that. So you gotta really think about, when they're trying to distract you from one thing to another. You probably want to focus on exactly what they're trying to distract you from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love this comment on Twitter by John Porter. Yes, John made me laugh during the show. And his comment at #SpacedOutRadio, what do you think I should pack in my Nibiru bug-out bag? That might be the tweet of the night. That is the leader for the tweet of the night right now on #SpacedOutRadio.
I have an answer.
Binoculars and pointing sticks.
Yeah. And night vision goggles for when Nibiru blocks out the sun. That's very important.
Exactly. Exactly. John is the leader, Twitter crowd. John is the leader, so you're going to have to pick up some game in order to catch that one. I'm going to be saying that right now. John, you're leading the way on #SpacedOutRadio on Twitter for the tweet of the night so far. All right.
But here's a thought, too, though. What is Vatican's telescope, Lucifer? Are they maybe looking at Nibiru?
I think they're looking for alien life. I don't think they give a care about the faux planet. I'm still trying. I'll tell you what bugs me about this, and I just brought it up briefly moments ago. What bugs me about this, and correct me if I'm wrong, people, okay? How come when they show, on these History Channel or Sci-Fi, when they're showing all this stuff about Nibiru, why is it always black? Why is every other planet lit up by the sun, yet Nibiru is always black? Is it stealth mode? Does it have stealth technology on it that it can hide from the sun? Why can't we see it?
Maybe
it's a spacecraft. So of course it can grow.
Is it the Death Star? Is Darth Vader there?
It might be.
What if it's flat, like flat Earth?
With an ice wall?
Exactly.
Black ice wall.
Maybe all that's on Nibiru is cats because they've pushed everything off the edge.
Oh,
All
that
right.
could be.
All right, I'm getting fired up. All right. By the way, Joe Allgaier in the SOR Space Travelers Club says, I think Elizabeth is protesting way too much about Nibiru. She's probably from there. Then he follows it up by saying Elizabeth might be an advanced scout. Wow.
Yes,
I am from a group of alien Amazons on Nibiru. And normally I wear much more seductive clothing than I do while I'm on Spaced Out Radio because I am an advanced scout and I am in disguise. It's true.
Very funny. Elizabeth, while we got you here, let's get to your middle frame question.
This is my first question, and I'm going to start with Andrew, I can't say his name, Bashago. So he's running for president again in 2020, and one of his platforms is anti-transhumanism, which is no cloning, but rights for clones if clones happen, and no microchipping, and no, I guess, computer, enhancing of human beings. Two-part question. Would you vote for Andrew Bashago if he runs for president? And do you think that the anti-transhumanism platform is going to become important in the next 50 years?
Short answer, no and no.
I think Andrew Bashago, as long as he brings out the whole time travel program, if I was American, being the token Canadian here, I would love to see Bashago go against Trump's second term. I think that would be interesting. Let's really make a mock of the presidential run in 2020.
I don't see how you can beat it, other than the vampire guy that ran. What was it last term? The vampire guy ran. Who was that?
Really?
Yeah, there was a vampire guy that ran. I can't remember his name.
I need to pay closer attention to the presidential races because I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can't remember what state he was running from, but yeah, he was on some little side platform.
I missed the vampire. Probably would have voted for him.
I think he's from Arizona. Yeah, I swear, I think he's from Arizona.
I'm gonna have to check that out. For me, I actually would probably vote for him. But although we all know that there's no chance in hell that he would win, and where I think the transhumanism will be in 50 years, I think that we're well on our way.
Yeah, and that was my point with saying no, is that if they're going to clone, they're going to clone behind your backs anyway. So
Absolutely.
You're not going to stop.
They're already doing it.
The president's not going to stop it. The president's got no power. Trump,
he doesn't have that kind of power.
No, my argument with Trump anymore, I don't even fault that man. He's a mouthpiece, literally, on Twitter. But he's dictated by his swamp cabinet that he created. That's all he is. He's just a mouthpiece. So would any other president that makes all these big claims about cloning and everything do anything? No, they wouldn't. They would be, even if they tried, they'd be stonewalled by Congress and vetoed on every bill they try to pass with cloning or transhuman bills.
I can't handle any more trans stuff or binary stuff or anything like that. I'm overwhelmed. Uh-huh. No offense to anybody who is, but can we just get back? Is that too much to ask? I don't get it. Yeah, I went there. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I just put my foot in my mouth right now. But I went there.
Oh, is this about transgendered in the military?
No, I'll be honest with you. I fully disagree with that. I think anybody should have the right to serve their country. You know, I'm not trying to make this political, but whether it's some of these terms of this whole non-binary stuff is getting ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. It really is, in my opinion. I'm all for freedom. I'm all for being who you want to be, how you want to be, or whatever. But do we really need to coin all these terms? I'm getting confused.
Yeah, me too.
I can't keep up anymore.
It's like hashtag.
Why can't we just stay with the LGBTQ or QT? Good enough. Mm-hmm. We got it all covered there. Anyways. All right.
Breathe.
Yeah. I would love to see Andrew Bashaga, though, as president. I would love to see what he does detail about the time travel program. That's what I want to see. Vote for Andy in 2020. That's what you need to do.
Okay. I'll do that just for you, Dave.
Well, you guys are about as exciting right now as drywall. Let's hype this up a little bit. This is Andy, the time traveler. Let's go for it.
Well, he said that he was going to have them. He was going to try to get Clinton and Obama and somebody else to admit that they had been told that they were going to be president because of the time travel program. So that was one of his disclosure things, was to get these former presidents to admit that they knew in advance that they were going to be president.
Well, that's never going to happen.
Yeah?
No.
So we might as well just put that away. Because that's a false, promise right there. There's no way. I'm sure that as presidents, they have to sign some kind of, non-disclosure that they can't talk about any of that stuff. So yeah, Andrew thinks that he's going to be able to come in and convince them all to go against that non-disclosure and go and admit that they were part of the time travel program and that they were told they were going to be the presidents. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
So far-fetched.
I want to know where the time travel jump rooms are. I want to know where those time travel jump rooms are. That's what I want to know.
We apparently have one in Cerritos. We have one. It's an old schoolhouse, and one of the people who was in the program, I can't remember his name, but people talk about it in town. He kept maybe not a jump room, but it was a dropping off place. Like he kept winding up at this old schoolhouse down the road from us, and he wasn't from here. But when he was a kid, he would end up at the schoolhouse, and he would end up here in New Mexico. And then there's some sort of secret base thing not too far away from that old schoolhouse that they were talking about. But, yeah, I mean, they're apparently like drop-off points and pick-up points that look like regular old, broken-down houses, according to people in Madrid, New Mexico, who sit around talking about stuff like this because they've got nothing better to do, like us. So you could come here, Dave.
Looks like you fit right into the clan there.
I do. I found my people.
All right.
Drink, talk.
Yeah, a lot of drinking going on in Madrid, New Mexico. A lot of drinking going on. So,
Fireball.
Oh, don't even start there. All right, let's get to your we got to get to Christina's second question of the night here. Fire away, Christina.
Well, I wanted to get your guys' opinion on the discovery of the mummified alien bodies out of Peru.
Oh, good one. Good one.
Oh.
Now I know someone who has to change question number 3.
Oh. Great minds think alike.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Coop.
Well, with that, I thought you had a guest on the show that was talking about that, and they found that there was an extra digit or a lack of a digit that was grafted on.
Yes.
So, it hasn't hit mainstream news too much. I would have to say, honestly, it's another hoax.
I don't
I
know
think
if it's
there's
a
been
hoax.
five bodies that have been discovered altogether, right? There was 3, and then they found another 2 recently.
I really don't
There
know
were
if
2
it's a
separate
hoax.
finds.
I think it's some sort of humanoid subspecies, to be honest. I mean, those look pretty real. Those look pretty real. And, the fact that they got those elongated 3 fingers on each hand and the elongated toes, I mean, those are some ugly feet, let's be honest. I mean, you wouldn't want to grow up with those feet. But I think there is something to that. If there was only one, I could see it being the hoax, but I know they're up to 5 bodies, and I believe they all match one that was found headless a number of years ago. I think it's just fascinating. And once again, like Bill Burns said last night on the show, these are topics that the media should be talking about, but they just aren't. And it's ridiculous because they're not doing their job. So I am a firm believer that this is a story that should be getting international attention.
Well, and maybe that's why they have Trump in office, to keep everyone's attention with his Twitters. And the real stuff is coming out in alternative media.
I don't know. Maybe.
Just a thought.
Liz?
I'm actually looking at it, and this came up before when I talked to somebody about it. I think that some of those 5 are real and some are not. I think perhaps the set of 3 were real and then 2 were added with the finger bones replaced in order to shed doubt on the entire group or entire situation. I think that when you add doubtful information to good information, that's the way to debunk it. And, and so that's what it's looking like from here, is that 3 are good, 2 are added in order to cast doubt on them.
And that could be.
That's my take on it as well. That's kind of what I was getting from it too, and I mean it makes sense because again, if you're clumping them all together and saying, oh well, they were all they're all the same type of being, and then you get 2 of them that are found to be fake. Of course, now as a whole, they're going to say, oh, okay, well then all of them must be fake. So, and again, when we get any kind of evidence like this, the government doesn't want that kind of information to get out. So again, if they can say, oh, well, we found that they're fakes, same thing with Bigfoot. I mean, there has been some amazing evidence that's been sent out to universities and all these different places to be tested. And, somehow it always ends up coming back that, it's not a Bigfoot, that it's some, whatever. Same thing like with the chupacabras and all these different things. Whatever they don't want you to know, they'll just, explain away, and then we're just supposed to accept it and move on. And which, again, if we can't ever get the actual real results out on stuff like that, how can the world believe that a lot of these things exist? Because if they were to say, oh, these absolutely are not human, then you're going to turn around and it's going to blow over like, oh, well, we've always been told that there is no such thing as aliens. Now this changes everything. It changes history, it changes everything we've been taught, everything we've been told. So that's huge. So it's just easier for them to go and discount it, or again, put something that will debunk it, the whole lot of them, and it takes care of that.
Could be. Could be. But, considering they were found near the Nazca lines and the mystery behind the Nazca lines, I think there's something tied to it. I really do. I mean,
I think it's a great find for sure. I think that it's an amazing find, but I don't think that the government is going to allow the real information about what these are to come out.
Very true. We only got about 90 seconds here before we have to go to another break, our final break of the night. As we continue this talk, though, do you think then, and we got time for a quick response, Elizabeth, I'll give that to you. Do you think then that there are going to be more of these strange little bodies or creatures found, or do you think this is a story that's going to get swept under the rug?
I think that that's an impressive find. I think that the 3 that they found was the right situation at the right time. I don't know when in the next 20 or 30 years they're going to find a bunch. I think that was kind of a one-time deal, at least for, potentially the rest of our lifetimes or until we're really old. So, unfortunate. But I think they may find another grouping somewhere not too far away. It's hard to find things underground. That's all.
I agree, and we don't know how many have had exposure from animals digging them up to just any type of environmental exposure, so we don't know how many are actually there, but we'll see where it goes. Coop, what do you think? Do you think there's more out there to be found?
I do, especially in that continent. Because, and while we were talking, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so alien races in general, you have your own grouping in North America, but your more interesting races are actually in that continent, as well as in Brazil.
Mm-hmm. And Coop, I'm going to get you to hold on here because we are coming up to our final break of the night on Spaced Out Radio. The SOR Roundtable happens the final Friday of every month. And tonight we have with us Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal, Elizabeth Anglin from Cosmic Passport on Sundays, debuting on August 6th. And Christina George, one of the most lovable paranormal peeps you will ever meet on this paranormal extraterrestrial highway. And of course, there's me, Dave Scott. We are going to be sharing our thoughts, our questions into the next hour. We'll try and sneak in some of your questions as well. So stay tuned right here on the mighty SOR at spacedoutradio.com as we're going the distance 3 hours. Don't forget, this weekend we will be playing network replays of 2 shows that I got to pick out as we make the change over to the new sound weekend. You're listening to Space Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. We'll be back right after this. Coming September 29th to October 1st, the first annual Spaced Out Radio Caribou Paracon. Hi, this is Dave Scott. The event will be held at the Spruce Hills Spa and Resort in 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Come join us for an amazing weekend of speakers talking all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Sasquatch, intuitiveness. Listen to great speakers like Miriam Delicato, Samantha Mowat, and the crypto guru Ronald Murphy. Get your VIP passes by going to spacedoutradio.com and clicking on the Paracon banner. Come to BC, where the paranormal is waiting for you.
From coast to coast to coast, Blacklight Uncharted is taking on the paranormal across Canada. From ghostly hauntings to the UFOs flying above in conjunction with MUFON Canada, we're closely investigating what's going on in the northern skies and checking out the apparitions that walk among us. Check out our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com. We want to know your thoughts, we want to hear your experiences, and we want you to share your stories. The answers are out there, and we intend to find them.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
It's paranormal news at its finest. Welcome to The Encounter. At spacedoutradio.com, The Encounter Online is SOR's trusted news source for everything weird and strange going on around the world. This is news editor Eric Markham. Our team of journalists are scouring the planet for those strange stories that rarely make the mainstream. No fear-mongering or fake news here. Head over to spacedoutradio.com and encounter The Encounter.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Have you had an experience you can't explain? Had a run-in with ghosts, maybe Bigfoot, or seen lights in the sky? Hi, I'm Mike Schmidt from the SOR Sightlines. I'm here to investigate your sighting. Head to spacedoutradio.com and fill out a report on the Sightlines. All your information is 100% confidential, and I will help you figure out what you've been seeing. File your report, and let's find out the answers together.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Have you got your Cosmic Passport? If you need one, tune in to Cosmic Passport on Spaced Out Weekend. This is Elizabeth Anglin, ET experiencer, spirit medium, and host of Cosmic Passport. Each weekend I'll be bringing you interviews and support from other paranormal experiencers, and the best in intuitive spiritual guidance from across the globe. It's all happening starting at 9 p.m. Pacific Time, midnight Eastern, on spacedoutradio.com.
From British Columbia to Northern California, Pacific North Weird has Cascadia covered. Check out our feature videos at spacedoutradio.com, where I, Vincent Zunza, and my super sleuth partner Alexandra Sullivan track down the weird and strange stories from around the Pacific Northwest. From Bigfoot to Mel's Hole and everything in between. This is what makes life exciting. So why report the normal when we can report the Pacific North Weird right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Oh, there's only one way to rock. Loud and proud. In high definition. Radio 702 rocks. Las Vegas.
Hope to see you there.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio Live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you with us. Tomorrow night and Sunday, we're going to run network replays before relaunching the weekend shows. Spaced Out Saturdays, starting on August 5th, we'll have Dave Cruz taking on over. And then on Sundays, Spaced Out Sundays with Cosmic Passport's Elizabeth Anglin. It's going to be a lot of fun, a big change coming up for us, but we're excited about it, and it's us turning over a brand new leaf that's very exciting. I hope you take the time to enjoy. All shows get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern time at spacedoutradio.com. We want to welcome in everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. Good to have you with us. We're live on KTLK, The Fringe FM, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Canaliculo cystostomy. I think I got it. Son of a bitch, I think I got it. Canaliculo cystostomy. There it is. That is your Spaced Out Radio SOR Space Travelers password of the night. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as Bill sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Now, if you want to follow us on social media, you can be like Skeptic, Tanya, John, Rahonda, and use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to connect with me live during the show. At Spaced Out Radio is our tag on there. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. Follow me on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR. You can also tune us in on TuneIn, listen in on iHeartRadio in the United States. Download us on iTunes. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including joining the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. Pick up some swag at our Spaced Out Radio store. Read up on the Encounter online, listen to some Bumblefoot, watch some Contact TV by Leslie Mitchell Clark, or UFO Seekers videos by Tim Doyle. We got a lot going on. We want you to check it out and let us know what you think. Tonight, for the final time, we introduce our panel in the SOR Space Travelers. Make that the SOR Roundtable. We do it the final Friday of every month. It gives us a chance to chill out, relax, think of the month that was. So we welcome in Christina George, Eric Cooper, and Elizabeth Anglin. Welcome, team.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. I like having you guys around. I do. You make me happy.
So I came with you, too.
Absolutely. Let's get to Elizabeth's question here as we start hour number 3. Fire away, Liz.
Oh, my gosh. Well, this is actually, I've changed my question for Robin. There in foreignpolicy.com reports that the Department of Defense and even the CDC have made plans for zombie attacks, that they have come up with contingency plans for zombie attacks. And some of these zombies are as interesting as chicken zombies, which actually exist. They occur when hens that can no longer lay eggs are euthanized by farmers with carbon monoxide, and then they dig their way up to the surface of the ground after they're buried, and they're very scary. But they even have plans for evil magic zombies, zombies from space, zombies created by pathogens of some kind, and bioengineered Frankensteinian zombies. My question for you is a two-parter. If zombies attack, what sort and kind do you expect they might be? And 2, if there is a zombie attack and you are surviving, what is the first and or second thing you are going to do, given that you now have plausible deniability to take out anybody you want?
Loaded question. Loaded question. I know. What if somebody you don't like isn't a zombie?
Yeah. I know. It's an evil question.
I tell you, because I know if this happened, my former mother-in-law would literally run me down if she was a zombie. She's one of those people, I will quietly put a cage over her burial just to make sure she can't get out.
So she can't be a chicken zombie.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. It's terrible. It's terrible. I probably shouldn't go there. I might be going to hell for that one. But But the lady scares me to this day. I haven't been married to her daughter in 10 years, and the lady still scares me. What am I supposed to do? That's my nightmare zombie. Joe, I may need some pointy sticks in order to get rid of this zombie. But that's okay. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. Because, you know, I don't even have a gun. And I don't know if zombies go into forests where there's a lot of wild animals.
You can't double tap if you don't have a gun. It's an impossibility.
I'm Canadian. You know? I don't even know what a double tap is. The only thing we know about double around here is going to Tim Hortons and ordering a double coffee.
So basically, if the zombie apocalypse comes, you're going to Tim Hortons and you're going to order a double coffee, and then you're going to run from your mother-in-law. I think that's a good plan.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm screwed there as well because I don't drink coffee.
She's going to come and try to eat your face.
That's right.
Oh, well.
In your beard.
Well, I'm moving on. You guys answer this one. This one scares me.
Eric. Oh, we've lost Eric.
You know what? Usually one show a month, Eric drops out. So we're going to call Eric back here because it's not an SOR roundtable without Eric's phone dropping at least once. This is what happens when you live in the sticks. I think Eric still has one of those rotary dial phones where he lives.
No, I go by cell phone only.
Zombies.
So
what are you doing?
Zombies. I'm heading for the mountains. I mean, I've got a mountain in my backyard. So, like I said earlier in another question, we have two 4x4s already loaded and ready to go. And they grab weapons. We're heading up in the hills. Up in the hills, if it's moving, it's probably going to get shot. Would I go after people I don't like? No, Not even going to waste my time. But zombies, yeah, I've actually. Do you guys have a copy of the Zombie Survival Guide?
No. Who wrote it?
Are you serious? I don't even know who wrote it.
What is the purpose of that? Seriously.
Man, there's been theories about zombies for years.
Okay, now are we talking voodoo type zombies, or are we talking like Hollywood type zombies? Because if it's like the hoodoo type zombies, all I'm doing is playing some Bob Marley and bringing a bag of pot. That's all I'm doing. We'll get them under control quick.
That's the interesting thing, because if you look at movies, you got the two different types. You've got, and I can't remember, I think it was Warm Bodies, where the zombies actually run and jump. I believe it was Zombie is War Z or something like that, where the zombies actually run and jump. And all the other depictions, they're moving slow, and you can just shoot them in the head. And my favorite line is the double tap. And that was in, which one was it?
Wasn't that the one with Woody Harrelson, Zombieland? I love
Zombieland. That was my favorite. That's my favorite zombie movie. And I agree with them. Do the double tap. You shoot them once, they're going to get back up. You shoot them twice in the head, they ain't get back up. But yeah, and I think realistically, do you guys remember the case where they said it was bath salts that caused it, but the guy that was eating the man's face in Florida?
Yes. Right.
I think that's your first depiction of what a zombie is going to be. Was that a zombie? No, I think that was a guy that was jacked up on bath salts or whatever drug he was taking. But I think realistically, if there was ever going to be a zombie, it would be a pathogenic one created by, I don't know, Zika virus or any other myriad of viruses that our government might be creating at Dugway Proving Grounds, at Plum Island. They're playing with nature. They're playing with bacteria that shouldn't be played with. That's where your zombies are going to come from, if there is such a thing. The voodoo zombies, they happen in Africa, you know, those have been real for forever. Do they run around eating brains? No.
How do you know?
Question, though.
How do you know? We don't know what zombies eat. That's why I'm hoping for the voodoo and hoodoo type zombies, because a bag of pot and some Bob Marley playing, you've got it beat. You got the winning combination right there. And being in British Columbia with the amount of pot up here, there is no way that a zombie is getting through here without smoking a fatty.
Just make sure you have one of Joe's. Just make sure you have one of Joe's pointy sticks ready, just in case.
I've already got them.
Yeah.
He's shipping them to me.
The titanium tip ones?
Yes, the hollow point titanium tips.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Goes on up then.
We're ready. We are ready. Coop, let's get to your third question of the night.
Okay, third question I'm lighting up. Let's see, where do you think and where do you hope the paranormal field is going to be in the next 20 years?
Christina?
I'm sorry, you cut out. Where do I think the paranormal will be in 20 years, you'd say?
Yep, 20 years.
To be honest, I would hope that there's more unity in the field, but unfortunately, I feel like there's just going to be more chaos unless there's some kind of, I don't know, rhyme or reason to what everybody's doing. I mean, there's got to be some kind of guidelines or something that we go over, and I just don't see that happening anytime soon. So, to be honest, I really just don't know where it's so unstable right now, this field, that it could go either way.
Agreed.
I think this field needs an entire enema. So in 20 years, hopefully there is some sort of legislation, and I don't even think that is even possible, but hopefully there is some sort of legislation that eventually comes out of this, that people finally get on the same page, spend about a week in some boardroom trying to put together the rules and regulations of what to do and what not to do when it comes to ghost hunting. I don't think it'll ever happen. I think the field has gotten way out of hand, and hopefully it dies down. But the sad part about it is, in 20 years, as everything is cyclical, once paranormal television dies off here, as it's been slowly doing the last couple of years, we are going to see it trend forward again in about 20 years, because that's what happens. Just like sitcom comedies. It's hard to find a good sitcom comedy on television anymore. No. That's if television even exists in 20 years.
Now, in 20 years, you'll be watching TV through sunglasses.
Yep.
Liz, what's your take on that?
I would hope, but this is my naive hope, that we would get, our science would become so good, our cosmology would become so good, that some of these questions about why ghosts exist, the interdimensionality of Bigfoot, phase shifted, fairy lands and gnome lands would actually fall within the realm of science, of physics, of the cosmology of the universe, and that we'd start to be able to see some detection equipment that's based on actual science. I think I'm probably 20 years ahead, 20 years out. I think that's 40 or 50 years out, but I would hope that we would be going in that direction, so that we would also get a new generation of scientists who are not a-holes about this sort of thing. We're just like, yeah, that's unexplained. Let's look at it. That would be wonderful.
What I want to see in 20 years is having kind of like the same lines you're going, is having the science community and the psychiatric community converge together. Because a lot of the cases we see are psychiatric. Science is a given. If we could get science on board to prove things scientifically, it'd be wonderful. But will that happen? Not in my lifetime. Maybe my kids' lifetime when they take over the job, if they do. But if we could get the psychiatric community on board to help weed through psychiatric issues that are causing paranormal, or psychiatric issues that are, well, there's no paranormal, but only a psychiatric condition, it'd be great. And I mean, that's one thing we are working on, but it's very slow because it's hard to get a psychiatrist open-minded enough that there is something paranormal versus everything psychiatric.
I think that's a good point. If you can get the psychiatric community to buy in that most of these people who are having experiences are not hallucinating, they're not bipolar, they are not in any shape or form crazy, then and only then can we really start to see the results of the experiences and record the results of the experiences people are having.
Exactly. Medication's not always the answer. Clearing out their house and removing the spirit or whatever else is going on is the answer.
Now, Coop, I'm going to ask you a question here, and this, sorry, Elizabeth and Christina. I had you working on a case north of me with a young man who had a couple of logging trucks that you guys pulled some stuff out of, and you asked him to fill out your form and everything, and I believe that got done. Now, here's a young man who had the paranormal activity calm down, but now his anger has started flying off the handle, which he has now turned to alcoholism. Would this have anything to do with the paranormal activity that could be haunting him, so to speak?
Okay, so it could be. Also, let's look at the aspect of alcohol as self-medication. So maybe through years of paranormal experience, he's exhibiting PTSD from it. And in that kind of case, once we ruled out and cleared out the paranormal, now we have to get him therapy to help deal with the PTSD side of it, if that makes sense.
But what if he's refusing?
Well, there's not much you can do. You can take, and I always use the phrase, you can take a horse to water, you can't make him drink.
Well, that's true. That's true. Interesting.
And we see that, we see that in cases all the time. I mean, and we've actually had to set a limit in our cases where if we see the same client 3 times, case by case, obviously, it depends on what's going on. But if it's the same client and they keep coming back, and there's now nothing there, we have to draw a line. Not in your case, but I'm not even referring to your case, but in general. Because we can tell the client what they need to do over and over again. If they're not following through with their end of it, as far as what we've told them they need to do to cleanse their house, to keep themselves shielded, to protect themselves, to raise their vibrations, there's not much more we can do, and we have 5 cases we're working on. So they're taken away from another case that's more urgent. So in those cases, yeah, you have to cut the line.
I can see that. You know, it's all on a personal preference as well. So very, very intriguing indeed when it comes to this kind of stuff. Very intriguing indeed. Now, let's get to another question here. Elizabeth, have you asked your third yet?
I just asked my second. Oh, my goodness.
Well, I'm... It's been a long week, man. Give me a break.
I've got to think of a third. Well, I was, and this is probably, everybody's going to start yelling and screaming, so please don't. What do you guys think of the sort of when paranormal / conspiracy goes kind of overboard. So here's the thing I'm basing this question on. I'm going to have a big disclaimer before I say it. There's a Bigfoot alien person in my town who's really into Alex Jones. And the latest scare is that that liberal Dems have this new secret weapon that they're going to take over the world with. And liberal Dems are doing all this stuff. Well, I hate to say it, I was raised a liberal Dem. I've been in Massachusetts. I worked for Greenpeace. I know Bigfoot and aliens too, but the fact of the matter is I'm unaware of any liberal Democrat plan from Obama and or Hillary to take over the world and send the United States down the tubes like next week. So my question is, when we get people who are sort of politicizing the paranormal and the conspiracy aspect and the paranormal and pointing fingers at one group or another, what do we feel about that? Is that appropriate behavior, or is that dangerous behavior because we're demonizing, people that otherwise would be our friends in the paranormal world?
Well, I think
I'm
it's
not
dangerous.
sure how I feel about it.
No, I think it's dangerous on the aspect of how many followers that particular individual's got. You start demonizing one side, you have all the radicals that follow him. Using Alex Jones, for example, that will go out and conduct attacks and whatnot. So how do you draw the line? I don't know. Tell people not to listen to them? That's not going to work.
Well,
do you stand up for yourself, or do you hide? Do I have to say, I almost responded, I'm a liberal Democrat. I feel so powerful today. You
stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
You stand up for yourself.
Well, I think the whole point that you brought up, Alex Jones, goes exactly what we talked about earlier on in this show, and we have mentioned many a time on Spaced Out Radio that the fear-mongering BS that he tends to spew, granted he does have some good sources, okay, but the fear-mongering that he tends to spew really is showing the absolute, what's the word I'm looking for? Garbage, if we could use that term, in what's wrong with the alternative media side.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that anybody would even quote him, and I'm not giving you crap for this, Liz, because it is your question, but the fact that people are actually taking seriously what he says, whether you're a liberal, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a conservative, or whatever you call it, Republican down there, okay, it is horrible. It is horrible that this man can even try and call himself a journalist. It's terrible. I'm embarrassed.
Well, that's where people need to stand up and say enough's enough. Will they? I think most of the sheeple will get tired of hearing his crap, and some of them will drop off. And it's just the radical minority, hopefully, that'll be the only ones that'll sit and listen to him. Those are the ones you have to watch, and that's probably the ones that are on Homeland Security's watch list.
Yeah, I don't know about that, because there are people here that I know who are listening to this, and these are people that I've sat at dinner with, and they are listening, and they're actually going out to some of the rallies and things as the sort of people getting up to try to prevent this thing. And the unfortunate thing is it takes away. I would much rather be talking about Bigfoot. These are actual Bigfoot experiencers. I would much rather be talking about aliens and crash ships. I would much rather be doing paranormal stuff than having to go, excuse me, but the person that you want to go out and kill, you could put the same label on me, and we're sitting here drinking and talking, and I think it takes away from, because it's lumped in with people who are truth seekers in the paranormal, it takes away from the paranormal, and it takes away from the paranormal community, because I actually don't care. I will drive all over the road, but my background is, I'm from Massachusetts. What's not to be liberal Democrat about that? You kind of can't claim massive right wing for most people from the East, that thing. And so I don't know. I think it takes away very greatly, and I wish it would stop, because I would rather sit and talk about these other things and not be pointing fingers and demonizing my friends who are Republicans, who are more conservative. I don't want to point fingers and say, well, you're the problem and you're trying to do this, and so I need to fight you. I don't want to do that, and I don't want to be in a position of being the other, being pointed at. You're trying to do this. No, I'm not. I
think people like him are left alone to keep the division happening. Because can you imagine how strong this country would be if everyone put their politics and religion aside and got along? Can you imagine how strong this country would be stepping against the government saying enough's enough? They can't let that happen. So to keep everything divided, they feed people like Alex Jones and others to keep on feeding the fear, keep on feeding the misinformation, to keep everybody divided. That's the only way they can keep the country divided to where they can do what they want.
All right, let's get off the political side here and let's move forward on some good stuff here. My next question and my final question of the night comes from a show we did a week ago tonight with Dave Scott. He is part of a group from Fine Line Laboratories spread out all over North America who, in, I believe, early 2018, will be launching the first that we know of UFO-specific hunting satellite, which will be up in space for 2, maximum 3 to 4 months, specifically looking to take photographs of unidentified flying objects that are in the sky. I love this idea. I really do. And they may even try and put a live feed on this as well. And they have a donor now who might be looking at doing that. Christina, I'm going to start with you on this one. Do you think that any satellite up in space, whether it's a private satellite or not, if they found a UFO, do you think that photograph would ever get to the public?
I think that the government would try very hard to make sure that it did not get out, or if it got out, that it be taken down as quickly as possible. But again, it's a very dangerous game too, because you might be getting a visit from the Men in Black if it's found out that your telescope is getting pictures that NASA and the government don't want you to have and share.
And you see, they said that if any of their photos go missing, because they will all be time-stamped and number-stamped as well, that they will call out the government or whoever they find out took those photos.
Well, who's going to do anything? That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Who are they going to go to call it out?
Well, on the flip side, what you do is you go public with it. With the social media, you go public with it in the media, if the media in general picks that up. Because here's the difference with the media. We would have true scientists with true evidence, not just, Jack or Jane, filming a blob star in the sky that looks to be moving, but you can't tell if it's the actual object moving or that they're shaking because they're zoomed in so close. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be like that. This is from true satellite. And let's say pictures 6, 7, and 8 go missing. So on the count, it goes to 5 and then jumps to 9 and 10. If they call out the government or whoever for stealing those photos on their feed, that would make the media, love the media or not, trust the media or not, that would make the media, because it is scientifically based. Like I said, it's not Jack or Jill with their video camera that's so zoomed in that it's picking up all the shaking and you can't tell which object it is. It's not like that at all. These are true scientists who are doing this for the specific attention of finding any type of unidentified flying object. So I think they're in a pretty good position where if the photographs go missing, they have a case, and if they do get photographs, they're in a win-win situation either way. Elizabeth, what do you think?
I think we got the same problem of the too many alien mummies and the adding the false information at the same time you get the real information in order to cast doubt on it. So even if they had the pictures, if they let the pictures out to the world and, made it public, you're going to come up with, oh, well, there's a Russian satellite that did the same thing, but it was all hoaxed. And so that just proves that the whole thing was a hoax. It's like competing information that sheds the opposite light on the subject. And unfortunately, that tends to be how it gets done. When we were doing the abduction thing, we had a fake abductee come and try to include herself at our study, and no, none of her information was included. But the fact that she said she got to hang out with us and see Dr. Mack, and she was a fake, means that everything else is questionable and it's all a hoax. That that you can't tell one thing from the other. So, too much. I think what you'll get is a plethora of other UFO pictures.
Very nice. Thank you.
At the same time that these come out. So, but I applaud them, and I think that they will probably find something within years of being up. So, hopefully we'll see it.
I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. I would like to see it happen. Coop, what's your take?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that goes with the what's going to happen in the next 10 to 20 years. Maybe that is the next step in the right direction. And if they call out the government, it'd be great to see a live feed. I'll definitely be on that live feed watching. But, yeah, and as far as funding, if they have their own donors and whatnot, that'd be great. I mean, they could even charge $5 a month for live feed and guarantee they'd have people watching. And guaranteed, if it's legit and they actually get their satellite up, they're going to catch stuff. I mean, if you can stay on the ground and watch the skies and see lights flipping around and whatnot, they're going to catch stuff up in satellite level. Now, I can see the only way the government will get around stealing their pictures if they said, well, you happen to catch one of our spy satellites or you happen to catch one of our spy planes and we can't let that get out. And that would be their way of getting around stealing pictures. Now,
what are you saying, that if they catch any TR-3Bs going to the moon or Mars, that it's not going to go through?
Right. And then the government's got more answers than questions, as far as, whether you've got something up that high for. But,
the satellite, sorry to cut you off there, the satellite's only going to be about 180 miles above Earth. So that means it's good enough to see the curvature, flat earthers, number one. But number two, it won't get in any type of orbit that there are other satellites moving forward or the International Space Station.
Okay. So they should catch some. That'll be interesting what they catch. And that'll be something to keep an eye on for the next 2 years. Because if it goes up in 2018, we'll have answers in 2018 if he's only up for 3 to 4 months. Be interesting to see what happens.
Well, that satellite will be taking pictures, one picture up and one picture down every 5 seconds.
Okay.
Amazing.
That is quite amazing, actually. It is quite amazing. Christina, let's get to your final question of the night.
All right, well, this is kind of going to be a repeat a little bit of a question earlier, but just in a different field. Where do you guys think ufology is going to be in 20 years? We're starting to see a lot of the same drama and people trying to tear each other down, like we've been seeing in the paranormal field. We're now seeing that kind of drift into the ufology field as well.
Mm-hmm.
At 10 to 20 years, I see it getting worse unless there's a major shift where, like we just discussed, if they happen to actually catch something on the satellite. That would be a game changer. If they don't catch anything on the satellite, well, it's going to be the same humdrum, oh, look, there's a light in the sky. And, and every paranormal group that's out there is going to be mocking the ufologists like they do now, and the alien abductee like they do now. And it'll get worse.
And I agree with you, Coop. I think that's where we are right now, where we see so many people being told, look, I've heard your type of story before. I have empathy for you. But in reality, it doesn't help my research anymore. And we're seeing more and more of that as time goes forward here. However, I think if we start having people who are just amateur astronomers or amateur UFO hunters, starting to claim the whole science card like they are in the paranormal or cryptid field, then the field of ufology is going to go to all hell in a handbasket just like the rest. But I think where it's protected is that the people who are out there, okay, and we take that older generation of the Stanton Friedmans, the Linda Moulton Howes, the Richard Dolans, and people like that who've been on every show, on every documentary ad nauseum. I think it's the problem that we are having is there are very few people in their 20s, 30s, 40s right now stepping up to the plate with that scientific background, willing to put their reputation on the line, saying, look, we have something here, we need to check into it. Because if you look around in this field, and you look at any documentary out there, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but how many people in that 20s, 30s to 40s decades in age do you see really doing anything in this field? And that's the danger.
No, it'd be nice to see the younger generation start picking it up.
It totally would. It totally would.
You see in every UFO documentary, you see the same faces telling the same story, talking the same, the same thing. Where are the new people?
Has anybody else noticed that? The age category?
Mm-hmm.
Christine?
Well, it's actually been that way. I mean, at least for abduction, because John Mack he was 60 when he started. Bud Hopkins was in, I think, his 50s. So some of your groundbreakers have already made their careers in other fields. So Stanton Friedman's just been around forever, but, it usually takes somebody with some maturity who's done something in another field, who has some integrity, and some stick-to-itiveness, regardless of the slings and arrows of the fate of researchers. That they're kind of impervious or not afraid of what's going to happen to them because they've already been a success someplace else. What we need is another crew, another deep crew of that sort of people in their 50s and 60s who've already done their thing and can now come out and do this and kind of don't give a crap if they get murdered in the press or murdered academically or murdered. You know, I hate to say it, or murdered, which seems to be a theme as well. So, you know,
Philip
younger
Schneider comes to mind.
yeah, and Lear and potentially others with Galloping Cancer and whatnot. So, yeah, we need some warriors who've raised their kids and had their careers who come out, but they have the background to really bring it.
But there's no real exciting stories anymore. We don't hear of this next generation of Bob Lazars or Roger Lears or whoever else coming forward, or Travis Walton's coming forward and really bringing a new angle to this story to the forefront. Now, granted, maybe social media and channels like YouTube or Periscope have taken that over and really misplaced that next generation. It could be very well that simple an answer. But we really just don't see a younger generation of scientists or researchers coming through in the UFO field right now. Sure, there's authors who have interest. I can think of Ryan Sprague, probably in his late 20s, early 30s, good, smart, young individual. He's got a couple of books published in regards to some strange topics. But take him out of the concept with today's day of independent printing of your books, combined with you know, a plethora of online mediums, from radio to television, podcasting. I'm just wondering if, like you said, Christina, is this the beginning of the end of quality research in the next 20 years?
Everything's watered down with the plethora of mediums that are available now. And what we're finding too is, you know, most stories, like you said, I think the reason you don't see any more Travis Waltons or any stories like Betty Barney Hill or Villas Boas, any of those famous cases, because most abductees today are too terrified to come out and talk about it. And, you know, and like I said earlier in the show, we have people in our own paranormal field that are attacking people that believe in abduction, UFOs. So why come out and talk about it for ridicule?
Yep.
Once we get past that stigma that society has got in place, you'll start seeing more people come out, maybe. And you know, some of the stigma is from my family thinks I'm crazy. Well, and like I told somebody earlier today, because this individual's father was talking about him being crazy. Well, your father was probably abducted too, because most abductions happen on a family line. So, you know, they're getting attacked by families. They're getting attacked by the social media in general. And once you get a label of crazy, you can lose your job. You can, you know, and then it goes downhill from there. So most people, you get past the stigma, more people come out and talk about their experience, you might see a plethora of more shows coming out.
Fully agree. Yeah. Christina, you got anything you want to comment? It was your question.
Yeah, well, again, I agree. It's kind of going crazy the way it is. And again, I think that it could go either way. It really just kind of depends on where we as a whole in the field, you know, take this and allow it to go. I mean, so many people, again, join in the drama, or they join in on sharing fake videos, or trying to bring personal opinions and feelings into things that have nothing to do with ufology and trying to hurt people. So again, I think it can go either way, but I think as a whole, as a part of the ufology and the paranormal field, that we're going to have a lot to do with which way it goes.
All right, Coop, we got about 7 minutes left here, and I'd love for you to get your final question in of the night.
Oh, I already did 3. But I do have one. I do have one.
I know you do. You always got a bonus question. That's why I asked.
Okay. So, it came up that paranormal investigators are not supposed to pass over spirits because there are experts that pass over spirits. And I'm scratching my head going, really? There's an expert that passes over spirits? We do it all the time. But my question is, what makes an expert that can pass over a spirit?
Oh, that's easy. You're an expert who can, if you can pass over spirits, if you have it within your energy field, within your knowledge, within your spiritual help to pass over spirits, guess what? You are an expert. I am an expert. You are an expert. I would say you can go ahead and do that thing and call yourself an expert. And whoever said you couldn't needs to get a handle on their own limited thinking.
Well, where do these people come from that think there has to be an expert to pass over a spirit? Where does this garbage come from?
I agree, because I cross them over all the time, but I'm sure as hell not an expert. I mean, I learn new things all the time, and in order to be an expert, I mean, who tells you, or who makes that decision on who's an expert and who's not, and how much spirit you need to have? I mean, I don't like it. It really bothers me when people, claim to be an expert, because again, unless you might be very, very knowledgeable in the field, but I think expert is way over.
Okay, but I'm going to throw in a caveat to this. At what point is it our right to cross them over?
It's absolutely our right.
It's compassionate action. It's not just our right. It's positive action.
Right. What if the spirit doesn't want to go?
Well, he doesn't have to go.
Right. I mean, who are we to force anybody to cross over? I mean, that's not our. We're here to help them cross over if they need it.
Yeah. I mean,
okay, but there are people out there right now who feel it is their duty to cross every spirit possible over.
They have a limited worldview, and they're not thinking about free will.
I mean, even in our cases, there's spirits we don't cross over. We either mediate with the client and the spirit, or in cases where the spirit is a family member. And once we explain to the client, your presence in your home is simply your grandmother, then they're at peace. Oh, okay. We just felt a presence, and we want to know who it was. And that's fine. We don't need to cross them over. Then you have the cases where there's a malevolent energy that's keeping spirits trapped. You remove the malevolent energy, the spirits go on their own. And then you have the spirits, like Dave, the one in the tavern here in Concrete. He's 22 years old, died in the 1900s. Having the time of his life. Why are we going to cross him over? He doesn't need to be. So no, not all spirits need to be crossed over. And anyone that thinks they do, well, yeah, I agree. They have a limited worldview.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know what? I still believe that, I'll be honest, I have a ghost in my yard. He goes by Rick. I asked him, I said, would you like some help crossing over? And he actually said, no, if you don't mind, I'd like to stay here. So I said, not a problem. I think it could be that mutual if you got the right spirit to chat with and the right person who knows how to communicate. Then we go to the museum where I do the ghost hunting tour, and Elizabeth, you and I talked about Willie.
Mm-hmm.
Willie is a very, very angry spirit. And he knows his power, too. But he doesn't want to leave because he's protecting another spirit in the post house. But we had to come to an agreement on how to keep everything smooth and kosher for the tours, even though he doesn't like the tours. So there's a lot of different avenues where you can go, but I don't agree that we should have people running around crossing over spirit after spirit if the spirit doesn't want to go.
Right.
Especially. No. And unfortunately, in this field, we do have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
and
see
it's bad
a lot.
because, well, yeah, it's bad because, I mean, just imagine, if you didn't want to cross over, or, you wanted to stay for whatever. I mean, there's so many different scenarios of, why spirits stick around, or, if they didn't cross over. So some, yes, absolutely want help, and they're looking for help to cross over. And, I'm here to help them do that. But I would never force. I mean, again, there are ways to cross a spirit over if they didn't want to go. But why would you do that? I mean, to me, it makes no sense. Our responsibility is to help the spirits that are in need of help. So the ones that don't want to go, I mean, who are we to say, oh, sorry, you're dead, you have to cross over? Right. It's just ridiculous. And how disrespectful.
It is happening, though, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
We are down to our last couple of minutes here on Spaced Out Radio for the SOR Roundtable for the month of July. Wow, July was a quick month. Liz, I'm going to bring you in here for a moment. How excited are you about doing 3 hours of Cosmic Passport on Spaced Out Sundays?
Woohoo!
It's a big challenge. Big challenge.
Yeah. I'm excited about learning how to interview as well as you do, and getting with Eric to get some great guests, and doing some psychic Sundays and some other experiencer-related stuff, Bigfoot and aliens, because that's what I like, even though I'm a medium. So I'm happy. I think it'll be good.
I think you're going to be wonderful, Liz. I really do. I think you're that talented, and I think you're someone who can handle the pressure of doing a 3-hour show. Hey, you only get to do it 1 day a week, my friend.
I know. I'm happy about that.
Yes. Are you a little overwhelmed? Robert White is asking if you're a little overwhelmed by that thought.
When you have a really good guest, 3 hours goes by in a blink. Or when the show is good, it's like, wait, it's over? So I'm hoping that will be what happens.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to do great, and that's why we chose you for that position, because you well deserve the opportunity. It's going to be a lot of fun listening to you, Liz. And yes, Psychic Sundays will continue. We're just not sure if we're going to do it once a month or twice a month. Liz and I will talk this weekend about it. Eric Cooper, let us know what's happening quickly with Forest Moon Paranormal, as we got Bumblefoot playing in the background.
All right. If they need help, you can find Forest Moon Paranormal on Facebook. Just search for the group and jump into the group. We have a plethora of knowledge here. As far as what we're doing, we have training once a month. We're going to Darrington for a training exercise, like I said earlier in the show. And we'll be attending with a booth some events here locally. Other than that, things are busy as usual.
And the beloved Christina George, it was so nice for you to come on in tonight. I really appreciated that.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Well, we kind of like you around these parts.
Aw, I kind of like you guys too.
Tell us when you are on the United Public Radio Network.
Right, I on Monday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Paranormal Connections, and Thursday nights, the same time for Top Secret News.
Awesome. I'm going to get you guys to hold on, and I'm going to wrap this thing up. In the background, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, taking us in and bringing us out every single night. Tomorrow night and Sunday, we are going to be running repeat shows for this weekend. We are revamping the weekend. The following week, Spaced Out Saturdays with Dave Cruz, Spaced Out Sundays, Cosmic Passports, Elizabeth Anglin. All shows start at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time. I want to say thank you to my great team, the dulcet tones of our announcer, Bob Davis, Everett Thiemer and Eric Markham on the Encounter Online, Jolene Lammers and Tim Doyle Web Design, Catherine James Social Media, Kim Gandy, our Director of Business Management, Thomas McGowan Sales, Carrie Mingo, and Lana Scott, Paracon Coordinators. We can't do it without all of you. Thank you so much, but we can't do it mainly without you, the audience, in the chat rooms on Twitter. You guys bring it every single night, and we appreciate it. Because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, take us home.